Good evening, this is Lynx. So, I guess there's another planetary situation coming up where Mercury is in retrograde. And for those of you who don't know, Mercury goes retrograde when it appears in the sky to be moving backwards. It's not really moving backwards. It just appears to be moving backwards. And this phenomenon usually sends people into a panic, freaking out. Oh my God, Mercury retrograde's coming. And I will be honest, in the years since when I first started studying astrology and I was doing charts for people, I never saw as much emphasis on it as I do now. The amount of emphasis on Mercury retrograde is kind of through the roof. It reminds me of that whole "the devil made me do it" thing. Before, okay, so now and now I hear people going, "Oh my God, there's the shadow before and after, and it's coming. It's gonna be awful." It's like, all right, calm down, Francis. Some things that you need to know before you freak out and put yourself into a tizzy over what's going on with Mercury. First of all, know where it is in your chart and know whether or not Mercury was in retrograde when Mercury was retrograde when you were born. Because if Mercury was retrograde when you were born, it may have suggested in your chart that you learn differently, that you communicate differently, that you may have in this life found challenges to communication generally, and you may have second-guessed yourself or have had a habit, come in with a habit to second-guess yourself quite a bit. What happens to people like that who have that in their chart when they're born is that in many cases, when the actual phenomenon goes on, those who have Mercury retrograde in their chart when they're born find everything works beautifully for them. It's very easy for them because they have been dealing with this for a good portion of their life. So while everyone else is freaking out and for whatever reason, things go smoothly for them. So it probably because they have had to adapt to the whole second-guessing thing and in a lot of cases learned to manage whatever challenges they had in relation to communication, in relation to second-guessing themselves, their own mind. What you should know about a planet going retrograde, and I like to think of it this way. When a planet goes retrograde, you have the opportunity to pick up what you missed the first time through. And then what happens when you do is that as it comes back and goes direct, you caught what you missed, and now things can go really well for you. So you don't have to look at it as a time of, oh, everything's going to go crazy. Yes, Mercury is the planet of communications. Yes. Yes. But it's also the planet of the mind. So what I would like to suggest is that people who freak out about Mercury retrograde, there's something about the going back. These tend to be people who might otherwise not be, they might second guess themselves to begin with. So when someone says, hey, the conditions are going to be weird, they're going to, they're already in the position where they second guess themselves, so this is an excuse to like exaggerate it even further. But if you look at it as though when planets go retrograde, it's a chance to pick up what you missed in that area in relation to it, and then when it goes direct, you can move forward with what you picked up. So it's a good thing, and usually you'll find that things run and you're like, oh wait, I missed this the first time, and now I got it. There's one more thing to think about. So Mercury is also he was also the god of thieves, tricksters, and tricksters. So I would like to add lighten up, because this is the very sort of trickster thing that Mercury would have, the whole Mercury energy would, you know, everyone freaking out because it's apparently going backwards and everything's falling apart. Lighten up. So when Mercury goes in a position where it's retrograde, I would say the emphasis really is on lightening up and watching your own mind, and you know, being careful about your thoughts and your words. And it gives, because if other people are walking around going, well, this is going to happen, well, you're likely to step into it. So it's not something you have to freak out about. It's not something you have to worry about. It's not something you have to assume is going to break everything down in your life. Take it another way. Take as it comes this time around. Take it as a challenge. Hey, I'm going to pick up in the area of my mind, my learning, my communication, what I'm going to miss the first time. If you have Mercury in your chart, in your birth chart, if it's retrograde, enjoy the ride and enjoy watching other people freaking out unnecessarily, because you're like, hey, I was born that way. I can manage this easily. And then think to lighten up during these times. So I am Lucky Links, and I hope that sheds a little light on the whole Mercury retrograde thing. You don't have to freak out. You don't have to worry. You don't have to like, this is a shot of this. And if a reader tells you it's Mercury retrograde and that's all they give you, then, you know, the whole world does not fall apart, and everything is not. That's very similar to the, well, the devil made you do it. So so consider that. If you would like to get a reading, ironically, during these times, I am always extremely booked during Mercury retrograde. I find them very productive and busy periods. So if you would like to schedule during this Mercury retrograde, do not hesitate, because I do fill up very quickly. So 779-302-8009, or contact me at conjurehope@gmail.com. If you'd like to take a class, a virtual class in tarot, a virtual class in Lenormand, a virtual class in crystal ball reading, a virtual class in playing card reading, or a virtual class in Mexican Loteria, then contact me by those numbers and I'll tell you what the course fees are, what's involved in those classes, how you get involved, and how you take them. So enjoy the Mercury retrograde, have fun, and remember, lighten up and stay loose.